the Tutu's Tennis Shoes page on Facebook, or you can go to the Tutu's Tennis Shoes page on YouTube. All these real chats are broadcasted in multiple places. So anytime you want to watch it again and you can't find it on the Instagram feed, feel free to go over to the Facebook feed or the YouTube feed. Miss Kyra, if you are on Instagram, you should see that I'm live and you want to click on the circle. So there's a red circle around my name. You want to click there so I can invite you on to our live. If you are on Facebook and YouTube, you already get to see her beautiful face. She is live there, but we are trying to get Instagram to catch up. And if Instagram wasn't such a hater, we would be able to stream live all on one platform and make it easy. But Instagram does not want to cooperate with StreamYard. We cannot stream from StreamYard. So we have to do all this tech stuff to get it started. And then every time we do these chats, it's a little delay. Hey, Kyra, do you see me on Instagram?
I am on Instagram and I am on your page, but there's no red circle around your name.
Let me unmute you on the computer. You say what?
I said I am on Instagram and I am on your page, but I
do you see the little red halo around my name?
I do not. There's no red halo around your name that I can see.
So there should be a red circle around my profile picture.
No.
Okay.
Is it because let me do that first.
You guys that are joining me on Instagram, Give me just a second. My guest is coming on. We just have a few tech problems. If you are on Facebook and YouTube, we're just having a few tech problems. So you got to give me just a second to get everything set up. Sorry about this. Nope, I know there's no questions yet. That's not what I'm trying to get you to do. Jeez. Okay, so let me go ahead and look at you. All right, so you should have just got the invite on Instagram to join me. And you guys that are here on Facebook and YouTube, let me mute my computer so you're not getting feedback. You guys that are here on YouTube and Facebook, thank you for being patient with us. Miss Kyra, do you mind introducing yourself, letting us know all about what you got going on, your businesses? Because you have multiple businesses, so I'm really excited to hear about both of them. Or all of them, I should say.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Kyra.
Are your headphones turned on? Because I should be able to hear you through Instagram.
They are.
Are they connected to the iPad?
No, my phone. Let's see.
So let's see. Oh, there you go. I can hear you now. But that means they won't be able to hear you on. Yeah, there we go. Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure there wasn't any feedback. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, you're good.
Okay.
Well, if you got to turn the sound down, so leave the microphones on, but turn the sound down on one device. It doesn't matter which one.
Okay, so they're completely down on my headphones.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, we hear you now.
Okay, perfect. Well, again, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here. Again, for the audience, we have not talked before. This is brand spanking new, fresh off the dome. But my name is Kyra D. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. But currently I live in Boston, Massachusetts, where I work as an associate scientist for one of the many pharmaceutical companies here. Chemistry is my passion. I am a chemist and I love science. And I also love my Black people. So my goal to give back to my community is through education. So I have a tutoring business that specializes in chemistry and mathematics. When I run several specials and I give back with free tutoring sessions from time to time. And I also have a pet sitting service because I love animals. I just don't have the time to have my own. So I run that as well. In addition to working in the tutoring service. And in addition to that, I love to travel. If I'm not in the lab or pet sitting or house sitting, I am on a plane because I want to see the world in the time that I have. So that's a little bit about me.
That is so amazing. So you have like all these interests and you are literally getting a chance to live out bits and pieces of each one. That is inspiring.
Thank you. Well, I try.
You are obviously doing it. So let's start with the chemistry. Tell us a little bit about the journey to becoming a full-blown chemist. Yeah, right. Hey, Danny. I mean, hey, it's Danny says she loves that.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I went to Zeb University of Louisiana, XU. I'm proud HBCU grad, where I majored, where I majored in bio pre med. And I loved, again, I always loved science, and I wanted to be an OBGYN for the longest of times. Until I got to my junior year of college, excuse me, and it wasn't happening, y'all. With them grades, y'all, it
Oh,
wasn't happening. I was giving it my all, y'all, but it wasn't happening. So, I have been doing research since I think my sophomore year, and once I graduated, I got an opportunity to do research in a bioorganic chemistry lab, under the instruction of Dr. Florestina Payton Stewart. Give her a shout out. It's my wonderful mentor. And so I fell in love with organic chemistry. It was just amazing. We were working with cannabinoids. If anybody's heard of berberine compound, we're working on that for
please fill us
uh,
in.
well, we're working on a compound for triple negative breast cancer, specifically, or treatment, hopefully a treatment for triple negative breast cancer. Because for as of now, there's no viable treatment for triple negative breast cancer. So we were working on that, or that's where I started working on that. And after that, I was working in her lab for about a year, and she was like, "You're running my lab. You should go to grad school." And I was like, "I don't want to do that." But she's like, "But you should." And so I did. And I went to Ole Miss, and I worked under Dr. Davita Watkins while I was there. She's also an amazing mentor, an amazing chemist. And I got some amazing research up under her. And once I finished working with her, I accepted a position, like I said, at a pharmaceutical company out here, and that's where I started my journey, or how I started my journey.
Wow. So one, we should always listen to our mentors, right? So she knew that you had like great potential, and I'm so glad that she, spoke to you and said, you can do this and you should pursue it. And even though at that moment you were like, I don't want to do that, you did it.
Well, thank you. Awesome black women, awesome black men as well. But the
Yeah.
black women in my life have definitely, they've been there. They've been doing their thing.
So speaking of that, so most of my audience is raising Black children. Can you talk a little bit about what your experience was like having mentors that looked like you, and also going to HBCU? Do you think that that affects your how you went about life and some of the things that you thought were possible? Like, just give us some idea how you felt about it.
Yeah. So growing up in St. Louis, Missouri, it is a place where colorism is live and very well.
Mm,
And so I thought for the longest of time, I thought I was a lot darker than I was. I remember having one African American teacher in grades, or maybe two, but not very many, not very
mm-hmm,
many at all. And definitely got teased for being dark skinned. Also, always been chubby, so I also got teased for that.
mm-hmm,
So it definitely was something. I definitely battled with just being in my skin, being in my black skin, and my
mm-hmm,
darker black skin at that.
mm-hmm,
And so when I was going to college or applying for colleges, I wanted to go to Duke University. That's where I had my sights set since my sophomore year of high school. That's where I was going. And my mom said, "No, you want to be a doctor, so you're going to Xavier University." And I was like, "I don't want to go there." And she said, "That's fine. I'll fill out the application," which she did. She she filled out the application. I did not, and I got accepted. And she literally drove me down to Louisiana, kicked me out the car, went back to Missouri. But it wasn't until my junior year when I got my first African American professor in
mm-hmm,
college, and that just really, and that was Dr. Payton Stewart, Dr. Florestina Payton Stewart, and that just really changed the game for me to see a black woman in STEM who knows her stuff,
mm-hmm,
but who's also caring and compassionate. A lot of black women get the stigma of being loud and um, um, you can help me out, but loud.
Aggressive.
Thank you, aggressive, and angry, and
Yes.
that was not her. Now she about her business, so turn
Mhm.
your work in on time. Get your research done.
Mhm.
However, she does have that very caring and just kind, part to her
Mhm.
that was at that time in my life I needed very,
Mhm.
very much so. And different
Mhm.
times in my life I still need it. Like, that's
Mhm.
my auntie. I be calling her. Um,
Oh.
still now, like, life decisions. I'm like, hey, Dr. Page, you got a second? I need your help. Um, but yeah, if just meeting her, just it really changed the game for me. It's, I guess, as you can see, I started working for her. That was my junior year. So like 2 years after that, I started working for her in her lab, and here I am. So I don't know if I hadn't met her, I don't know where I would have been. And she's also a darker skinned black woman. So,
Wow.
seeing, darker skinned black women, because a lot of times well, for me as a younger black girl, I did not see darker skinned black girls
Mhm.
portrayed in the media or in cartoons. It was always the mixed babies,
Mhm.
or the lighter skinned
Mhm.
women or babies that were portrayed in media and sitcoms and things like that.
Mhm.
So again, just to see someone who really looked like me,
Mhm.
in some place that I could see myself, because I always loved science. That just really changed the game for me.
Wow. I can understand that in a lot of ways. Like, I struggled growing up trying to figure out where I fit on the colorism spectrum. And I still struggle sometimes about body image, about where I fit because of my size, my shape. What does it mean to have these thighs? What does it mean to have this butt? What
Right.
does it mean to have this skin tone? When a guy, says something, and it's usually guys, unfortunately, but like when they say something about my skin tone, oh, you pretty for a dark skinned girl. And I immediately want to say, well, I'm not that dark. But why do I want to say that? Like what is really wrong with being dark? If I am that dark, whatever that dark is, what's really wrong with it?
Mm-hmm.
And I do understand a lot of not really seeing brown skin to dark skinned black women portrayed positively in any genre, but we really don't see ourselves in STEM. So we really don't know that there are Black women chemists out there that are, making huge headway. Not unless we get that final one that, got to make to the newspaper. But you're out there. You're out there doing big things.
Well, thank you. I do. I love my job. I don't. I just don't want to say too much about my company, just in case.
Yeah.
But we work with RNAi Therapeutics, and it is. I did. First of all, I didn't think companies like this existed in America. So I just want to say shout out to my company. Although I can't say, I'm not going to say the name, but they are amazing. When I first accepted this position and moved to Boston, I was like, I'll probably just take it, stay there, for 5 years, gain some experience, and just move on, because the type of research I'm doing, I've never done before. But this company is amazing. Shout out to them. But I'm also a part of a wonderful team. They are people. My teammates are very patient. All my lab mates. They take their time. If I need help, or if any one of us, need assistance with anything that
Mm-hmm.
we're doing, they have a second, they will, stop in and help us. So, I am here to stay. I am not leaving Boston. They gotta drag me up out of here. I am here to stay.
Well, that's lovely. I'm so glad you found a place that you are happy, that you're in love with, that is very supportive and fulfilling for you. Because I mean, how many of us don't ever find that position or a company that we feel that much love for? So that's beautiful in itself.
Well, thank you. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful that the work that you're doing, because I think it's a task to adopt a child. Really, it truly takes a heart, a giving heart, to do so as well. And to adopt a child of color, or just a child of a different race, other than yourself, that's another task undertaking on its own. So,
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the work that you're doing, because, it's more than just, oh, that baby hair is looking terrible, or
Mm.
why they got that baby on that them soccer jersey. shoes and that wedding dress, but it's, letting them know that you can be okay with who you are, with your skin tone, with
Yes.
your culture, with any part of the world. Because I got teased for being the white girl, of my
Mm-hmm.
family, because I listen to everything,
Mm-hmm.
country, rock, hip hop, R&B, everything. I listen to it
Mm-hmm.
all. And I think you should listen to everything. You should
Mm-hmm.
not just limit yourself to one thing. And I think it's great that, adopted children who are adopted to parents of a different race have that experience already. But again, great work that you are helping them to understand the children that they are, excuse me,
That's right.
the children that they are, we'll give it a second, bring it into their culture,
Mm-hmm.
and bring it into their household as well. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Oh, thanks. So what I noticed when I started Tutus and Tennis Shoes, which started as a brick and mortar children's salon in Des Moines, I didn't necessarily start it. Well, I didn't actually. I didn't start it focusing on transracial adoption. Transracial adoption found me, and I started to pay attention to their needs. And what I realized was the white community was missing these families, and the black community was missing these families. So tutus and tennis shoes started to fill a void that I felt like I had as a black girl growing up. But then when the transracial adoption families found me, I saw that not only the void that I had growing up was there in these children a lot of times, but also there was this greater void because both communities were kind of dropping the ball. So if we're just talking about hair care, you couldn't take, well, you can, but it's a roll of the dice. If you take a black child into a white salon that mom or dad may be used to going to and they've been going to their whole life, there's it's highly unlikely, especially in the Midwest, that a white salon would know how to take care of a black child's hair. So
Mm-hmm.
then, you take your child in there, and the place that you've been going and you felt comfortable is all of a sudden not the place that your child can go. That can be a hit in the face. But then you go across town and you try to go to the black salons, and because you're their parent, the black salons have things to say. There's a lot of chatter. And me too, like right when I started and families were coming to me, I didn't know a lot of the terms to use. I didn't know what things were triggering or harmful to say around the children. It was just a total void of information. And then once I started listening, thank God the families that were coming to me were very patient with me, and they um, really took a lot of time to educate me and feed into me and have open conversations that helped me understand what the transracial adoption community needed. If it hadn't been for them, I would still be ignorant to a lot of things that's going on, or that I'm not going on, but how both, like I said, how both communities are dropping the ball and not really being a village to these families. And to me, growing up, I did have some of the village aspect. Like my mom had friends that helped raise me. I have aunties that were they're of no relation, like biological relations to me, but they're aunties. And so I wanted these
We
children
all
to
got
have
that.
some of that. Yeah, and then those other challenges, like I was telling you about the body, and like we were discussing the body challenges and the trying to figure out where we fit on the colorism spectrum. Those things don't go away just because you grew up in a black household. So
That's true.
a lot of the insecurities that I grew up with, they're going to be multiplied in these young ladies who are growing up in all white families. And sometimes they may internalize them as something because they just grew up in an all white family, not knowing that black women everywhere, even in our black households, are still struggling with these things because of how society is set up. And it's unfortunate that society is set up this way, but this is our reality right now. And so if these families don't have the village around them to kind of help the young ladies learn how to maneuver in this space, how to cope, how to still have high self-confidence, even though, these things exist, then when they get to be an adult, they've internalized all this hurt and pain, and they're not able to be as great as they could be if, they didn't understand, like, this has nothing to do with your specific situation. Unfortunately, this is our society. And unfortunately, there are a lot of women who are dealing with it. And these are the ways that we do. So I'm hoping now that tutus and tennis shoes has morphed into what it is, that I'm able to bridge that gap for more of these kids, and I'm able to introduce more of our community, like bringing you on and chit chatting with you is encouraging more of a community, more of a village atmosphere, right? And it's introducing families or who are raising young Black girls to Black chemists who are out here, making waves. And before, like I said, we may not even known that there are Black women in this space. So that's what I'm really hoping from these chats, is that I'm just broadening this community and really filling in those gaps for families. We're trying to anyway.
Well, again, it's beautiful work, and it all starts with a conversation. One, being able to be open to that conversation, and then two, being able to understand what that person is saying. Not only listen, but understand, even if you may not see their viewpoint.
Yeah.
So again, I thank you for inviting me on, and I'm happy to be here.
Well, thank you. So tell us a little bit more about some of these other passions you got going on. So we kind of got just a little bit of how you became a chemist and what inspired you. But you have a business where you pet sit, and because you love
Yes.
animals. So tell us more about that.
Well, again, I love animals. I'm not sure what kind of Black mother you have, but the kind that I have did not allow animals in her house
Dogs
because,
lived outside.
yep. Well,
Mm-hmm.
so I am the youngest of 5 girls, and her saying was always, "I have 5 2-legged pets running around here, or 6 2-legged pets. Why do I need another? Why do I need a 4-legged pet?" I'm like, there's so many things wrong with that, with that sentence. But
There's a lot of.
anyway, yes, a lot of things. So I always loved animals, but I could never have one. And then when I went to college, I lived in the dorms the entire time, so also could not have a dog. So when I got to grad school, I finally was like, yes, I have my own apartment. It's time.
I'm
So
grown now.
actually, you like kind of, yeah, you a little bit. So I was in grad school, and a friend of mine at the time, Ashley Parker, give a shout out to her. She's in pharmacy school. But she had a dog, a little Chihuahua. Her name was Bella, and Bella chewed up something really nice and expensive at her mom's house. And so she's like, I can't take Bella back home. Can you take her? And Bella was tiny. She was like 5 pounds or less,
Oh.
7 pounds, dripping wet, maybe. And so I was like, of course, I'll take her. So that was my road dog. We was up on up and down the highway. And then my second or third year in grad school, I got engaged, and so my fiance and I, we got a puppy. His name was Nike, and he was a pit bull, and he thought he was Bella size, although he was 3 times
Okay.
exactly Bella size. And so when I was moving to Boston, unfortunately, my relationship with my fiance ended, and I just did not and could not take the dogs with me across from Mississippi to Boston. So I let them go, but I still love animals. So
Mm-hmm.
and I had already started like a pet sitting service when I was in Oxford, Mississippi anyway. So I just carried it over here with me to Boston, and it's been okay.
Okay.
So yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a really resilient way to turn pain into, something more positive, something more long lasting for you. So I commend you on that, because I
Well,
don't
thank
know if
you.
I could have. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it's life, and life is all about roller coasters. It's a roller coaster ride, and it's how you enjoy it. You're gonna throw up sometimes. It's gonna be exciting. You wanna put your hands up. You're gonna feel the wind through your hair, all of that. But there's gonna be some other times where you may be sick to your stomach from all the throwing up. You may be crying because you want to get off of it,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to stay on it. And so, yeah, I just try to find the silver lining in everything. I try. It's not as always easy, but I try.
Girl, it ain't always easy. That's for daggone sure. I think that's one thing that because a lot of times we also get the, what is it, the myth put on us that we're just strong and we can take anything, and that we really don't have emotions. Now I don't have a full range. It's been a lot of trauma and I'm working on that. But it doesn't mean that we just want to endure any and everything, right? Like um
Exactly.
there is a lot of resilience in our community. I will say that, just like you've, just shown in just that brief little introduction to how you got your pet sitting business started or what kind of inspired it. But that doesn't mean that we aren't fully human and that things don't hurt and that, we don't need a break sometimes. And so,
Definitely.
um, yeah. Okay, so then let's go to the other passion. You want to reach back to the community. Tell me more about how you want to affect the next generation. What do you want to do for the kiddos with education and with STEM specifically, right?
Okay. So I definitely don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I am working on a program, um, more than likely a summer program, that'll be for low income and low or minority students.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely high school students. I want them to see themselves in a college setting.
Mm-hmm.
And we will do STEM activities for have a set amount of weeks, and then just kind of introduce it to them with a cultural twist, that I'm still working on. And then I also, and mind you, there's a couple programs like this out here, but again, just my own and my own little twist on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take them to, and this may be kind of controversial, but I do want to take them to PWIs, what we call, or predominantly white institutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, yes, go to an HBCU. I want you
Mm-hmm.
to. You have your whole life to be a minority. Yes, go to HBCU if you can, but if you can't, or if you just really don't want to, I definitely don't want to take anybody's choice away from them. But
Mm-hmm.
if you do want to go to PWI, or if your tax dollars or your parents' dollars or whoever dollars, got to get you down the street to that PWI, then you can be there too, and you belong. You
Mm-hmm.
belong in those spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I would really like to give back, because at Ole Miss, I definitely did not have a terrible experience, but going from Xavier, which is real black, and New Orleans, Louisiana, which is real black.
Blackity black black black.
Okay, to Oxford, Mississippi, which is not real
Not
black.
so black.
Not real black. It was kind of a shock, and I felt and also like being around a lot of white men. I
Mm-hmm.
would feel some type of way
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And so I had to, it wasn't until I moved to Boston to where I started to really stand on in my own as a chemist and as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
as a black woman, and as just who I am as a person. It just, take some time. But I just, if I can help someone else
Mm-hmm.
not have to go through that,
Mm-hmm.
then, that would be wonderful.
That's actually a really beautiful way of reaching back to the community. And you're right, a lot of our organizations do focus on just introducing um, Black kids to HBCUs, but it doesn't, like, it's always that polar ends, right? Polar opposite. So either we're doing college trips and it is all at primarily white institutions and not really acknowledging that there will be some culture shock or that there will be some adjustments needing to be made or there will be some coping skills that maybe the Black students or students of color will need, or it's all about sending Black kids to HBCUs and like basically saying, well, none of that stuff that you would have needed at the primarily white school exists over here, so just come here. And that's not real life, right? So if we end up going to a predominantly white school, we will need those skills. And if you are coming from a community, like say you stayed inner city and you were always in your neighborhood school and everybody around you looked like you, that's going to be a different experience for you.
It is.
um if you go to HBCU and you were used to being in all white schools growing up, HBCU is going to be a different experience for you. So I definitely love the idea of you bringing in like, hey, this is what it actually feels like and this is how you deal with it when you go to either one of these choices.
Yeah.
I've
Because
never heard of a college tour bringing that into play.
yeah, like even I don't, of course, there's a certain aspect of code switching that, that I have to do when I go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm Black 24/7. Like, they already know, like, all day, every day. You see the skin, okay? And so I would like to bring that to, like I said, a PWI, like, again, a respectful, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but our culture, like, I am Black, and we're gonna have a good time, but you're gonna learn something in a different kind of way that's maybe specific to our culture, maybe will maybe help you, and
Mm-hmm.
however our brains work. I have their, children at the time, because everything's changing so quickly these days. But again, however their thought process works, but throughout culture. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm working on in the works of, hopefully, summer 2024. I'll have it off the ground.
Nice. That's pretty exciting. I will say that, like, when I took college tours in high school, they really changed my life and they really opened up my eyes to just the possibility. And sometimes that's what you need. You just need to know that that possibility exists. You don't necessarily need somebody there to make the decision for you or to give you all the pros and cons, but you just need to be introduced to that possibility. And a lot of times when we are living in lower income families, there's many possibilities that have not been introduced to us just simply because no matter how much our parents might have wanted to introduce it to us, or would want it for us, they literally just don't have time or the resources to introduce those things. And so you need those outside programs to open up the world for you. Sometimes I know, for me, Moving in the Spirit, which is a nonprofit in Atlanta, Georgia, and they use dance as a way to introduce life skills to the kids, and they used to take us on tour every summer. That's what opened up my eyes. Like, I had some etiquette, as far as like eating at a table and the forks, but when you're on tour and you're in a whole different state and your mama and your comfort zone isn't there, right? You latch on to a different set of skills. We stayed, so we would have host house, or families that would host us in different states. And even that, you learn how different people live. So then when you come back home, it's not like you have these blinders on anymore.
Yes.
Now your mind
I,
is open. Now you're interested. Now you're not as afraid of every little thing that looks so different. And sometimes that's all you need. You just need to know that the possibility is there.
I agree. My grandmother, rest her soul, would always say when she was alive, to whom much is given, much is required. And the older I get, the more I realize how blessed of an upbringing I have. And I
Mm-hmm.
just, like I said, the older I get, the more I want to get back to the community. So, we grew up middle class, I ain't want for nothing, ain't
Mm-hmm.
gotta lie, ain't gotta front it. I grew
Nice.
up in the hood. I grew up around the corner from it, couple blocks
Okay.
over. Not too far from the couple, but did not grow up in the hood. But because of my family, like you said, my village, my aunt and my grandmother, they were always on the go, be at the church or the sorority.
Mm-hmm.
So as a kid, I was a roar. But now I am a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. And
Okay.
because of our sorority, we went to a lot of, for regional conferences, we traveled a lot,
Mm-hmm.
for those things, and family trips. And like I said, church trips, we would go to different places. And I just, like you said, just seeing different places, different cultures, different sites, to just open your eyes to the world is bigger than St. Louis, or the world is bigger than wherever you're from.
Yeah.
And those things are truly valuable. Like you said, you really don't, as a child, and maybe not even as an adult sometimes, in the moment, you don't understand how valuable that is to the child and to their upbringing as a whole, until you
Mm-hmm.
get to moments like this in your life where you're like, wow, I would complain as a kid, but I really did not have it that bad.
Girl.
you know? So, I do my best to give back to the community in the ways that I can.
Yeah.
And not only, do I give back to the community, charity starts at home. So I give back to my family as much as I can. So not only, my sisters or my nephews, because I don't have any kids. My ovaries, we ready, but I am not married, ain't got no ring on the finger, so I'm waiting. But with my nephews, nephews or nieces that call me, hey TT, can you help me with this? Even if I'm at work, my niece has called me. I'm in the lab. TT, can you help me? Sure.
Aw.
Give me a minute. We'll get
Yeah.
on Zoom real quick and I'll help her. And even with traveling is my second love, third love, however you want to put it. But I am, so all of my nieces and nephews, when they go to high school, so they're the transition between 8th grade and their freshman year, we're starting. I didn't get to do it with my first nephew. So sad. But we were going to take an international trip.
Mm.
So they ain't gonna be impressed by, some little bald head or, scallywag girl or boy with a little trip to Miami because they're like,
Right.
ATC done took across the water, okay? So, again, I give back to the community and to my family, as much as I can, especially with me not having children.
Right.
But I have a heart to give. And I just, like, again, to whom much is given, much is required. And so many
Right.
people have sown into me. Like I said, my mentors, Dr. Watkins, Dr. Peyton Stewart, my family, my village, my sisters, my friends, my church members. If they had not poured into me, I would not
Mm-hmm.
be where I am. And it's not just, I gotta acknowledge God as well. It's without him, I am nothing. So, again, you have to give back because
Mm-hmm.
what the little success that I have, the little status that I want to think I have can be gone just like that. So
Same.
I do
Yeah.
my best, to stay humble and again give back in the ways that I can.
I'm sure you're making everybody proud. I mean, you've definitely inspired me in just this short conversation. Um, and I really do appreciate you being on tonight and just giving people a little bit of your journey to where you are now. Of course, there's going to be much more from you. Your page is public, right? Your Instagram.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
I use Facebook more so,
Okay.
but all these young people, as I'm young, but I'm trying to get with the social media. It's just so much, but
It is a lot.
yes, I'm pretty sure my Instagram is public.
Okay. So you guys, it's on Instagram. You can follow her to see more of her journey. You can keep in touch with her. You can learn more about how she's living as a pet loving, animal loving, travel loving
Yes.
chemist,
Science loving.
science loving, all these things. Again, I really appreciate you being on. I'm not going to keep this broadcast going super long because I want people to be able to watch it later. So I'm going to go ahead and end it now. Although I feel like we could talk for hours about more
Yes.
things. And if you guys that have watched, or if you guys watch later and you want to hear more from Miss Kyra, just send me an email and I will try to schedule another chat with her. And you guys can do that about any of the Sunday Real Chats. If there's somebody that you heard from or that you're a young person in your household would love to hear more from, please email me, let me know. These are for you. And I don't know what, you really vibed with unless y'all give me some feedback. Now, y'all stay in my inbox about anything else. I need y'all to go ahead and let me know about these, okay? So I appreciate you all being here tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and close out the Instagram first. Everybody tell her thank you. Jump in the comments later and tell her thank you for being on, joining our village tonight. I'll catch y'all later on Instagram. And then
Thank you for having me.
no problem. Hold on just a second. Let me close this out. Of course, it wants to be kind of difficult. Okay. And then if you guys are watching here on Facebook and YouTube, I appreciate you tuning in with us tonight, especially since I got started a little late. Please blame that on me. I'm a soccer mom. I'm trying to balance it all. And some days it ain't right. But I appreciate you guys being here. Again, leave me some feedback if this was entertaining to you. If you learned something, if you want to hear more from Kyra, just send me an email or leave it in the comments and I will do my best to schedule her again. All right, you guys, you have a very good night. I hope you have a great week and I'll chat with y'all later.